All right, everybody, this is Jim and Seth with Ronin Defi. Video number 3. Just surprised we got number 2 done. I was starting to turn into a bit of a marathon. Sorry, guys. We're kind of figuring this out as we go. We do prep a little bit. We're going to get better at that. But what we're prepping to do is help you guys understand the world of blockchain, crypto, tokenomics, DAOs, all the things that are coming for Web3. If you already understand it, then you probably want to find something a little deeper than what we're going to talk about today, or maybe not. I don't know. I think this is still so new. Everyone scratches something every now and then that's like, never thought of it that way. Mm-hmm. I know we bounce things off each other all the time. It's like, never thought of it like that. But what I'd like to do is kind of lead off as something we just talked about on the last video, which is, what are we looking for when we're buying tokens? I'm into productivity business applications, and it seems like the entire blockchain token coin community is really still so new. It's a lot of people trying to create exchanges on how to change one coin to a next coin and how to earn this and earn that, and it doesn't really have a clear product. Mm-hmm. You're not buying a wrench, you're not buying a hammer, you're buying a coin that lets you exchange for another coin. I mean, do you know a little more about that? Like, what are they doing? Like, what is actually happening when you buy a DeFi coin in general? That's just an exchange.
Well, most of it is just, you're buying their coin and you're staking it, and then you're earning some kind of staking reward, which is essentially them just creating their coin or using the coins that they do have to pay you as a staking reward, which is
like an IOU.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not really sustainable at all.
Right.
But I think what coins do that for is because they want to get users. So like Uniswap, when Uniswap started, they just airdropped a bunch of tokens to people that have used their platform, which is a really cool way to get users, typically.
But what are they using that platform for? They get the coin and then they go to Uniswap and do what with it?
Well, they can use it to, like, if you hold Uniswap coin, then you get cheaper fees. So you can use Uniswap to pay those fees instead of ETH.
Okay.
So that's one thing. For as far as the exchanges goes, that's pretty much the only use case.
So it's kind of like the phone companies giving you the phone, but you got to pay for the service down the road, and then eventually they transition to just a full-on. Got to buy the phone and you got to pay for the service. Is that kind of where that's headed?
Similar, yeah. Or like I think you can think of it like airline miles too.
Okay.
That's kind of. Yep, a lot of these coins, that's kind of how they're...
That's the same concept. It's simply use our service and you can earn points to make, get free flights or discounted flights or a free upgrade. Yeah. So it's a loyalty program that you're earning like cash back on, but it's still has to spend that in that ecosystem. Unless their coin becomes valuable enough, you can take it and exchange it for something else.
Yeah, you can sell it. Like a lot of people, most people did just get the Uniswap airdrop. They got like $2,000. They just sold it immediately, and that's what most people do.
So, but once again, we're saturated with these DeFi exchanges, in my opinion. I just think there's so many out there. None of them are doing anything really different, or the majority of them aren't doing anything different.
Yeah,
it's just try to pump it and cash out. Is that kind of the...
Probably, yeah. I'd imagine most of the new ones, because it's so easy to replicate these things.
Right.
Which makes competition very, very fierce, which, eventually they're going to weed themselves out.
And we'll end up with, instead of, I think when you go to the DeFi search tool on CoinMarketCap, let's see, how many do we have? We're looking at, we're already 579 that are more or less, and they're all not going to fit that model, but the majority of them are. Would you say at least 60, 70%?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like a bank, it's a bank that you get a higher percentage rate from, and it's all very new. I think like we're going through the same things that the banks did back in 2008, but we're going through it like, I feel like crypto, they say crypto moves 5 times faster than the normal world. And I think we're speeding through all of these problems that the banks have run into in the past, and which I think is good. I mean, it's healthy. It's going to happen, And I think, like what happened with FTX, like all those things are going to happen and they'll work themselves out. And I have, I'm optimistic for the future of DeFi because I would rather be in control of my money and instead of banks be able to make money on my money. I want to make money on my money.
I'd like to see that come a little more like a community bank, where
Right.
where we're starting. Like, let's just take industry. I'd like to see DeFi for the construction industry. My other company is a specialty construction based type of a business. I get all the time offers to pay in crypto. But the counter to that is, who can I purchase materials from in crypto? How can I write a smart contract in crypto, to be able to make a purchase with a client? Like, there's really no one's created an app, a dApp, that does that. Those are the things I'm looking for, is real world application to make those kinds of things that Joe Blow business owner can say, I have people offer me to pay in crypto all the time too. I don't know anything about it. Simplify it, make a community bank or a DeFi exchange for a specific industry. And I think that messaging, that's how we get ahead of a Google or we get ahead of a Wells Fargo in terms of creating product that is adapted ahead of the big banking systems or the big data companies that are out there. If we can stop trying to just replicate what someone else did and try to jump on the bandwagon and start thinking about industry and specific industry, then DeFi makes more sense to have 579 different offerings of the same product, the same, when you water it down, the same product. And there's a lot that goes into it, is that, stability and longevity and, growth and roadmaps and things. But if we can stop, rinse, lather, repeat, and do what Joey did, I think we could create product that would be adapted much quicker and much better and get ahead of the banks, get ahead of, hedge funds and all these things that we're trying to decentralize. Otherwise, they're just going to be held by someone who is a centralized entity that is just treating it as a cash grab. And I think we lose control at that point. I think at the moment we make that decision to develop product that's fits what it's actually designed to do, which is fuel community involvement in its own product, in its own thing.
That's interesting, because I think like in that construction business, especially, you have very big ticket, invoices that you're paying and you're getting paid. So I feel like that, that area especially has a lot of value can be brought by using Bitcoin or, some other cryptocurrency, where you don't have all these fees that you're paying in either credit card fees or, like I know that there's problems as far as like wire transfers. They take a long time.
Yeah, you've heard. I mean, I've sat there and I'm like, I'm waiting on money to show up, waiting on money to show up, waiting on money to show up. It doesn't happen at the speed of light that it can and should.
Right.
We bank with a small bank. I believe in community. I keep a community bank. I want my money to stay in my community, be it our geographic area. Yeah. But I'm also bound by their ability to move at the speed of what they can afford technology-wise. And I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with that when we have the technology at 579 other companies, that any one of them that would pivot into an industry-specific product will find themselves with a gold mine. I think they'll be able to mint money. I think it's the model that helps them grow as a small company and can sustain themselves. Because I know I'm not the only one out there. I'm just one knucklehead on the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
You know, you coast to coast, there's dozens of people just like me, hundreds of people, thousands of people just like me. So that's my one soapbox. But if you take the auto industry, if you take, you know, office supplies, I mean, you name it, you could really niche down. What's been the marketing phrase for the past 10 years? Riches are in the niches. You know, the DeFi groups are great at developing these products, but and I'm going to say it, their lack of real world experience in terms of business, I think keeps them short-sighted. Like, hey, we built this cool thing. Everyone jump on. Here's a bunch of free stuff to come use our platform. How about make a platform that people want to use, that have a need to use? They're failing to make a product that someone says, I can use that. Because if you took 1,000 people, put them in a room and said, hey, I'm a DeFi platform that can exchange your tokens, 999 people are going to look at them and go, so what? You know, but if you say, hey, I am a DeFi platform that can take your money and help you buy your prescription drugs, you're going to get a couple hundred people to go, really? What's that about?
Yeah.
And then you've gained interest, you can educate, and then you take those 200 people, and now you probably end up with 34 people that would actually use your product. And those are real statistics in terms of, you know, just marketing conversion type things,
Sure.
you know, if you do it right. So when I when I go to CoinMarketCap and I see a list of DeFi, exchange, we need this. We do need 100 some people making the same technology, because everyone might come across a little spin on it, and we get better at it, and then someone might get to their limitations in terms of their creativity and their developmental capabilities, and someone else buys them out, because that's eventually what happens. Is the guys doing it that need that infrastructure, or the base of people using that product and feel it's a good base, it's a good product, it's a good community, and they start buying and merging and becoming stronger and stronger, not to become these massive capital driven companies, but make a product driven to the communities that it was designed for. Because that's what crypto's blockchain was about, is about community stewardship. And that's, so soapbox is getting taller and taller. I'm getting ready to start pounding like a preacher, you know. But we did this for a reason, so we can control our own assets, our own work, our own values, our own data, or, you know, who we are. And people start developing tools that are for people and businesses, not just the masses. You know, if you don't start doing that, Google will. And they will do it over and over and over. And all this goes to shit. Mic drop? Sorry, I totally just went on a rant there. But I mean, we've talked about this type of stuff before. But I mean, yeah, I know you agree. But what would you add to that? Like, what other communities are out there? Like, if you were looking for something that if you wanted to find something, you were like, someone did that finally, thank God. What would that be?
Oh, geez, I don't have any off the top of my head, but I mean, I think from getting to, as far as like a payment that we can all get behind, I am slowly kind of becoming a Bitcoin maxi. As far as like, you know, we kind of have to pick a kind of coin that we need to all like agree upon. Like, this is what we're going to pay with. And
you think it has to be just one?
I mean, no, it doesn't need to be just one, but I feel like, you know, it's very hard to pay with some of these other coins when they're so volatile. Eventually, when enough money is in Bitcoin, it's going to be pretty flat.
You're talking more stable in terms of its value.
Yeah. I'm talking about getting away from USDT or the US dollar. You know, like, you know, there's obvious problems with where we are today in our money. And I think if we, like, that's what Bitcoin is for. Bitcoin was built for that. And I think the more we, you know, can adopt or bring people on to take payment with that, like, you know, we started paying with Bitcoin or getting paid by Bitcoin, I think that's kind of where this thing kind of really snowballs And, you know, when that happens, then we can start to really make some positive change. But I think that the coins like that you're talking about with that have a business, there is a use for those. They might not be, you know, something that you would buy and sell with, but it's just a way for you to go and invest in that project as a, you know.
But when I look at these projects, they're very, very broad, very routine. I don't see a lot of deviation in product offering in the DeFi community. You know, they're all exchanges. They all have a different spin on it, but they're not really focused on any one person. I guess the the blockchain community as a whole has lost sight of that there's a user interface somewhere at the end of all this that people have to be attracted to. And, you know, if black's your favorite color, you're going to gravitate to a company that has a black black color tone website. If you like bright colors, you're going to gravitate to a company that has a bright colored website, you know, and so on and so on. You got to start attracting these niches. You have to start developing for these niches. Otherwise, you're in a sea of, well, like I said, when I go through it, the only thing that stands out is it Matrix 1 coin, Matrix 2 coin, is Morpheus coin, is it, you know, Neo coin, is it, you know, Trinity coin, you know, we're getting past the point of the novelty of it all. I think we need to start thinking in terms of structure and business and who is our client? Who do we want to, you know, think of credit unions. You know, you have credit unions for teachers. Who do you think is the majority depositor in those in that credit union? Teachers, state employee credit unions, federal employee credit unions, Navy, military. You know, they attract people because they design experiences for those people. And that I truly believe that is not happening even remotely right now in the DeFi community.
No, you're right. It should. There's a huge opportunity.
So, you know, I don't want to go on because we said 5 minutes. We're at, you know, 17 here. But, you know, what would you add to it? Like, you know, what do you think that that what I'm preaching is worth preaching?
100%. Yeah, I think it's necessary because the companies they're stuck in, they're kind of pigeonholed themselves, and they need to think a little bit more outside the box and real world use cases and niches. I think that's great.
Think about websites, how, you know, the .com boom took off, and then it popped, and then it settled down, and then we all got a better understanding of how to value a website, what it actually was. Take Wedding Wire. I know this one probably make a lot of sense, you know, probably strike a nerve, and hopefully get you onto something here. But you know, Wedding Wire popped up, and it became the #1 website if you were a female getting married. If you wanted anything to plan a wedding or know what was trending or where to go, or I don't know who Vera Wang is. She makes wedding dresses, right? Or something. I don't know. Sounds like it. But if you wanted to plan your dream wedding, that is where you went. And it got to where it was a booking site. It was a referral site. It made a ton of money for itself. But it wasn't for tech people. It wasn't for, construction people. It wasn't for law enforcement or first responders. It was for brides. And if you created Bride Coin, and it was the #1 exchange to buy and pay for your wedding products, you know, that community, and you went through and you marketed, instead of everyone come and use our exchange, but we're specifically designed to, we've already networked with all the wedding vendors in the world, and the florists, and the this and the that, and the vacation and the limo companies. They all accept our coin. Well, if I'm looking to spend crypto on a wedding, where do you think I'm going to go? I'm going to go to Bride Coin, you know, and I don't know if that exists, but it should. I mean, am I right? Am I hitting that right? Like, am I missing the concept?
Yeah, but I just don't know about because there's like some security issues as far as like when you're using coins for buying and selling. So there's there's and I think that's how they get around it using DAOs, right? So I think that
Are you talking about like security exchange type things? Exactly. Yeah. That's but also no. Yes and no. I don't think that it has to be a DAO to do that.
No, but as far as like getting around the security laws, right? So yeah, I mean that I think really what you're saying is there's a lot of opportunity, and there's I think a lot of a lot of crypto, or the majority of crypto is just very in its infant stages right now. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of figuring out to do. So
some have to yell a lot louder and get a bigger just audience.
Keep yelling.
So for that audience thing, you guys can help us with that, because once again, I'm keep talking here and I forget I'm supposed to be talking here. Hit that subscribe button. Facebook, I think Twitter, Ronin DeFi. Hit us up. We're never on there at the moment, but if you hit it up, eventually we will be. We'll feed you something. If you got any questions, especially about this topic, because this topic is why I got into crypto. I was big in developing in the mobile boom. I was big kind of at the very beginning of Web 2. So when I see that, and I was young and all that, now I see this, and I've been through Web 2. I've been through the mobile development stage of Web 2, and now I see where it's going, and it's empowering. A lot of the things that were restrictive then don't seem as restrictive now. And from a business standpoint, my business chops have, grown another decade and a half. So, I think I have a lot to say when it comes to what we just talked about. And I really, truly believe everything I just said. I am big on DAOs, just kind of trying to rise you a little bit, see what you had to say. But we're going to keep on with these types of topics. I think this was a good one, actually. I think this at least made me feel good. I don't know.
Yeah, it was great.
But we're going to keep up with this. Listen to this, take it to heart. If you're a developer, if you just kind of cruise through this, I'm a knucklehead. Seth's actually a pretty smart guy, but I'm also the get it done guy. I want to know what challenges are out there, what your thoughts are. I want to connect people. We want to connect people through this. I'm not as much a developer anymore. I'm more of a kick in the ass. Let's get it done. Sounds like a good idea. Let's grab some duct tape. The van, and maybe some rope, and we'll figure it out. Seth has developed a few things, but I think through this type of conversation, we'll spark some interest in what I see in this particular instance as we're getting in a bad habit, and we're going to get outpaced by people that have been in the Web 2 industry for a lot longer. So, guys, get your head out your ass. Get creative. Grab a business guy. Sit down with your uncle that maybe owned a carpet store. Talk to him about this and ask him, what would he do with this? How could this help him? Because if you don't start talking to people that own businesses and how to apply this to them, we're all just making games at this point. So, Is that it? You want to close us out?
That sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, I'm Jim. This is Seth. This is Ronin DeFi. Once again, still no catchphrase. So,
adios.
Catch you next week.